This is Metatherapy, where we talk about therapy itself. Not advice, not diagnosis, just understanding the process so you can use it better. Each episode of Metatherapy is psychoeducation, not therapy. If something resonates, it's meant to be language you can bring back into your own work. If you watched yesterday's Meditation Monday, you spent 18 minutes practicing being present, and then probably you picked up your phone the moment it was over. I'm not judging. I did the same thing. Here's the question I want to dig into today. Can technology actually help us use technology less or better? Is there an app for that? And if there is, does it work? Today, we're looking at 3 tools in the digital wellness space, the built-in screen time tools you already have on your phone, a gamified focused app called Forest, and a hard blocking app called Opal. I'm going to walk through how each one works, what the research says, and where they fall short, and more importantly, who each tool is actually for. Because the honest answer to can an app help you focus is it depends. It depends on why you're scattered in the first place. And that's a question worth asking before you download anything. So let's start with the research. Now, before we talk tools, I want to ground us in something important. The relationship between screen time and mental health is real, but it's more nuanced than most headlines suggest. A 2025 randomized controlled trial published in BMC Medicine found that 3 weeks of smartphone screen time reduction to under 2 hours per day produced small to medium improvements in depressive symptoms, stress, sleep quality, and overall well-being. Critically, the researchers concluded this was likely causal, not just correlational. And see, that's meaningful because here's the catch they also found. Screen time crept right back up after the intervention ended. The reduction worked. The habit didn't stick on its own. A separate study in NPJ Mental Health Research found that cutting recreational screen time significantly improved mood and well-being, and even measurably reduced cortisol levels, a biomarker of stress. Again, real effects, real benefits. But here's what I want you to notice. In both studies, the intervention was behavioral change, actually using the phones less. The question for today is whether an app can help you get there and whether it can help you stay there. A 2023 Journal of Medicine Internet Research Analysis reviewed the evidence on apps designed to reduce phone use. Their conclusion? App-based management has potential to reduce phone use, but the research base is still thin and long-term effectiveness remains unclear. So we're in a space where the goal is less compulsive phone use, and it's well supported by evidence. The tools to get there? Promising, but not proven in the way a medication or a structured therapy protocol would be. Hold that as a frame as we look at these 3 tools. Let's start with what you already have. Both iPhone and Android have built-in digital wellness tools, iOS Screen Time and Android Digital Wellbeing. They've been available since 2018, and most people have never meaningfully used them. Here's what they do. They track your usage across every category, show you weekly reports, and let you set daily limits on specific apps or categories. They also let you schedule quote-unquote downtime, windows where apps go dark. Now, here's the honest caveat, and it's a big one. These tools are trivially easy to bypass. When Instagram tells you you've hit your limit, there's literally a button that says ignore limit. I've done this myself. And research on digital nudges, small prompts designed to change behavior, shows mixed results at best. One study found that a digital nudge in the form of screen time tracking alone did not significantly reduce phone use. Awareness without friction is just often never enough. Research on digital wellness apps consistently highlights what's called the commitment gap. Users set limits, they don't intend to keep, or they bypass limits when it's inconvenient. The tools work best for people who are already motivated to change and just need a structure to support that motivation. So, what's this best for? Well, it's best for people who genuinely don't know where their time is going. If you've never looked at your screen time report, start there. It's free, it's already on your phone, and the data alone can be clarifying. I have found that my use in certain apps has actually shifted because of the awareness I had. For instance, noticing that, wow, I spent a lot of time on Instagram last week, or I spent a lot of time over here on Facebook. And just that awareness itself didn't necessarily create huge change, but it created enough change to be able to alter the way in which I went about looking at other solutions. What is it not ideal for? Well, compulsive or emotionally driven phone use, scrolling as anxiety regulation, boredom avoidance, or habit. You'll bypass the limits. So the first app we're going to look at is called Forest. Forest is a genuinely clever app. The concept is simple. You open the app, you set a timer, and you plant a virtual seed. As long as you stay in the app and off your phone, the seed grows into a tree. If you leave to check Instagram, the tree dies. Over time, you build a whole forest, a visual record of your focus sessions. And for every real money purchase users make, Forest partners with a nonprofit to plant actual trees in Africa. As of early 2024, over 1.6 million real trees have been planted by Forest users. Forest has over 40 million users globally and consistently ranks as a top productivity app in over 130 countries. User reviews highlight something interesting. People don't describe using it as a chore. They describe it as motivating. That "I don't want to kill my tree" response is a form of commitment device. You've created a small psychological cost for switching away, and it works. Research on gamification for behavior change shows that well-designed game mechanics, specifically visual progress indicators, clear micro goals, and loss aversion features, can meaningfully improve task persistence. Forest's design hits all three. Comprehensive long-term RCT evidence specific to Forest doesn't yet exist, but the behavioral mechanisms it uses are well supported in the broader literature. The honest caveats: Forest only works if you care about the tree dying. For some people, the gamification feels childish or just not compelling, and it doesn't actually block anything. You can simply kill the tree and go to Twitter. It's a psychological nudge, not a hard barrier. It also doesn't work on desktop unless you buy the separate browser extension. So who's it for? Well, people who respond to visual rewards and gentle accountability, writers, students, people doing deep work who need thirsty to 90 minutes of phone-free time. Also for people who want a light touch kind of approach that doesn't feel restrictive. Who's it not ideal for? Yeah, people who need hard blocking. If your phone compulsion is strong, you'll kill the tree. Forest respects your autonomy, which is either a feature or a bug, depending on where you are. Cost is around $4 for one-time purchase on iOS, and there's a free version available on Android. Opal is playing a different game entirely. Where Forest asks you to choose presence, Opal takes the choice away. It is a hard blocker. You set which apps you want blocked, when you want them blocked, and for how long. And then Opal creates a VPN layer that actually removes access to these apps. You can set scheduled sessions around your day, work hours, sleep, family dinner, deep work. And in its deep focus mode, there's no bypassing it. The session runs until it ends. Opal's logic is: don't trust yourself in the moment. Set your intentions in advance when you're thinking clearly, and let the constraint do the work. That's actually sound behavioral theory. Opal's own internal survey, which is worth taking a look at with a grain of salt since it's self-reported by their user base, found that 94% of members felt less distracted and 92% felt more productive. They report an average of 1 hour and 23 minutes saved per day. The behavioral science here draws on what's called pre-commitment devices, a well-studied concept in behavioral economics. The idea: when we make decisions in advance, removed from the temptation of the moment, we make better choices aligned with our actual values. Opal is essentially a pre-commitment device for your attention. What are the limitations? Well, Opal requires a subscription, around $60 a year for the full feature set, and it uses a VPN configuration, which some users find concerning from a privacy standpoint, though Opal states it doesn't log or sell data. It's worth reading their privacy policy before you install. There's also a real psychological question about what hard blocking teaches you versus what it does for you. If Opal is blocking Instagram and you're still anxious, you haven't solved the anxiety. You've just temporarily blocked one route to it. The compulsion will find another door. So who's it best for? Well, people with strong phone habits who've tried willpower and just failed. And if you know the limit is going to be ignored, Opal takes that option off the table. Also, useful for high stakes focus windows, an important writing session, therapy hour, or an exam block. Who's it not ideal for? People using their phone for emotional regulation. Opal creates friction, but it doesn't address the underlying need. Use it alongside something else, not instead of it. Okay, let me make this concrete. If you've never actually looked at your screen time data, start with what's already available on your phone for free: iOS Screen Time or Android's Digital Wellbeing. Just look, sit with the numbers for a week before you do anything else. Awareness is step one. If you're a knowledge worker, student, or creative who needs stretches of focused time and responds well to gentle motivation, try Forest. It's cheap, it's charming, and the behavioral mechanisms behind it are pretty sound. The tree death mechanic is silly and effective. If you tried limits, overridden them, tried willpower, failed, and you need actual structural support to protect focused time, Opal. It costs money, but it's worth it for the right person. And here's what all three have in common. They work best when you know why you're using them, when there's an intention underneath the tool, which is exactly what we practiced yesterday. So here's my honest therapist take on all of this. These tools are good. Some of them are genuinely clever. And if one of them helps you spend an hour less per day in a compulsive scroll, that's real. The time is yours to spend in ways that actually feed you. But I want to be clear about something. A tool that reduces screen time without addressing why you pick up the phone in the first place is like rearranging furniture. It might make the room look better. It doesn't fix the foundation. The most powerful version of any of these tools, and I mean this, is pairing them with the kind of intentional attention practice that we did yesterday. Mindfulness doesn't tell you to put your phone down. It builds your capacity to actually want it, to notice the pull without immediately following it, to have a beat of choice before the habit runs. The tools create the conditions. The practice builds the person who uses them well. If you found this to be useful, subscribe and hit the bell. And we do this every Tuesday. And if you missed yesterday's meditation, I'll leave the link right here. 18 minutes. It pairs well with everything we just talked about. Take good care of yourself. I'll see you next week here on Tuesday Technology with Metatherapy. Take care.